So I wanted to give one of my little, I can't call it mind-blowing experiences. It's more, although it did blow my mind as a kid, it's more of a trauma trigger story. It's one of my very first ones, and I'm going to try and keep it short and to the point, which was, it's the little train that could, the little engine that could. I think the story is the little engine that could, and I've always called it the little train that could. But the thing is this, so I call it my first traumatic experience because it happened before the little kid incident where my dad made me fight him, and I don't remember what video it was that I put that in, but that was like my first fight. But this was my dad, you know, when I was a little kid, like a little kid, he had this Zundap. He was a motorcycle riding guy, and thank God he was, because I love motorcycles, and he's the reason for it. But he was a hard ass, to say the least, and he had this Zundap like 175, which you have to look that up. I'll see if I can find a picture of it. But when I was a little kid, like little, maybe 3-4 years old, I remember my dad used to put me on the Zundap, and I know this sounds crazy and made up, but I swear, and he did the same thing to my sister too. He would start this Zundap up, and when it was him, like, I don't know where mom was, she must have been working or whatever, but he would be home for whatever reason, and so when he was home with us, he was drinking. And so he didn't want to be bothered by us, so he said, "You guys go out and play." Well, he learned that he could put me on the Zundap, and I couldn't touch or nothing. All I could do was grab the handlebars, and I'm just a little kid, and he would fire it up, put it in first gear. We started in first gear initially, and he'd put me on the back of it. He took me around, you know, showed me how to do it. Like, he'd be on there, and he'd let me drive, and he'd just be on the back for a while. So once he saw that I could just ride, he just jumped off the back, and he let me do this for a long time. And he'd sit out there on the back porch and watch me ride, and you know, I'd fall over every now and then because it would just wreck, because I'm a little kid. I'm 3 or 4 years old. And anyway, so he would do this, and then, you know, in time, I got to where I could ride that thing nice, and I was, you know, and you know, he would egg me on and make me do stuff, and then he'd put it in second gear, and we'd go fast. So we had a pretty good sized yard, just, you know, a couple acres, 3, maybe 4. Anyway, so that's the way he babysit me. So when it was time for him to be home with the kids, he would make Lisa go do whatever she's supposed to do, my sister, and I would say, "I want on the motorcycle." So he'd put me on the motorcycle, he'd fill up the tank, and he'd start drinking, doing whatever he's doing, and I would just be out in the backyard just riding until I either wrecked or I ran out of gas. Normally it was I ran out of gas. That's how long I'd be out there putting around, like hours and hours and hours. And the funny thing is that, you know, as a little kid, I was quick, man. It was like the bike would start falling before it could even hit the ground. I would jump off, and so I never got hurt as a little kid doing that, which you would think that's a good way to hurt your little kid. But anyway, it trained me to ride motorcycles, right? So then I get about 5 years old, and I'll put a picture up of my motorcycle at 5, and you can see in this picture, it's me and my sister, and we're sitting on the bike, and I can barely even touch the ground, right? I'm a little kid, and this motorcycle is it's a 1973 MC60 Yamaha, and it's a heavy bike. But anyway, so Dad, he's training me on this thing now. He's showing me how to start it, how to get it going, how to take off by myself. And so now, you know, I'm instead of the Zundap, I'm on my own bike. I don't need your help, Dad. I got this. Hey, can I go ride my bike? Yeah, you're out there. And so I would go, I should put gas in it, put oil in it, blah, 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 because it was oil injected and whatever. And so I'd put the oil in the oil tank, and then put the gas in the gas tank, and then get it started up. And I'd be gone out in the backyard for decades. And he knew I'm doing well. He could just be inside and just go, "Hark, do I hear my son?" You know, same thing with the Zundap. That's what he did, is that, you know, he would wait to hear something like ding, 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 you know, and then come out and rescue me. But so for months, maybe even a year, I'm out there on this motorcycle just going around and around and around. Many times I had to come in and get my dad on the Zundap. I remember multiple times I'd come in, the bike would wreck, and it would ting, 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 and it'd just be sitting there on the ground. And of course I couldn't lift it up, so I'd go in there, Dad in the motorcycle. I'd have to wake him up because he's passed out drunk, right? He'd get up, go out there, get back out here, and then let me go off again, right? And that's just the way I was raised as a kid. That's nuts, right? Craziness. But anyway, so we're going along there, and I'm riding, good for a little kid. I'm maybe 5 or 6 years old. I don't even know. And Dad went to what he called Camp Gruber, which is Camp Gruber R.I.P. Park up there by Muskogee and Braggs, Oklahoma, is Fort Gibson, or not Fort Gibson, Camp Gruber Army camp, but it was Greenleaf. No, it's Camp Gruber O.R.V. Park. Anyway, I'll see if I can find a picture of that too. And look it up on Google so you can see where it's at, and then you can see these hills, and then you can see S.O.B. too, which is what this story is about, is S.O.B., son of a bench. And anyway, so Dad takes me out there with his riding partner, who these guys are aces. They've been riding their entire lives. They, motorcycles up crazy stuff. I've seen these guys go up crazy stuff that I'm just like, even today I'd be like, dang it, that's tough. And of course I've ridden every hill out there now. I mean, I've been riding out there since I was 5 years old. Anyway, so Dad says, what do you think you're ready for a big time? Let's get out there. So we started off the morning riding around on what they call the top, which is just, it's flat, it's level, it's trails, but there's still mud holes and, logs and trees and through the woods and over the river and creek and yada yada, stuff like that. Not too complicated. We get warmed up for about an hour or so out there, and of course Dad's getting anxious, so he's riding next to me, doing crazy stuff, and I'm just trying to keep up with him, and I'm focused, because I haven't been in the woods. I've been in my backyard, right? So he's getting me, you gotta watch for this and watch for these trees, and he's giving me the whole education on what you need to do as he's drinking, smoking weed with his friend. And anyway, so then he says, well, let's take him on down to the next, take him over to this next level, which is intermediate level, which is pretty tough stuff, especially for that level kid, and he takes me through it. Well, I'm doing great, man. I've got it. I've maybe wrecked a couple times, it's fine, because like my bike doesn't sit up as high as theirs, and so it hit a rock, or my freaking peg would hit a rock and knock my foot off. And I remember, falling over a couple times, and you Ryan, get up, and I'm crying because I'm a little kid and I've hurt, and I'm wrecked and I'm scared, and I'm, it's just, anyway, get up, boy, you got this, blah, 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 put me back on the bike. You got to keep your eye on where you're going, not what you're trying to hit. Don't look at the tree. If you look at the tree, you're gonna run into the tree. You want to look at the path you're on. Anyway, so we go through this for a couple hours, and by this time I'm exhausted too. By the way, because I've picked up this bike a couple times. It's heavy. I'm a little traumatized because every time that I've wrecked, freaking, you can do better than that. Blah. I take some traumatic chewing because Dad expects way more out of me. I know you're anyway. It's just the way I was raised. Anyway, so he's like, let's take him to S.O.B. And I'm like, S.O.B. I wonder what that means, right? And I'll put up a picture of it. And I've seen adults. I've taken adults to this very hill that didn't make it up the hill. Okay, these that are motorcycle riding guys, and they wipe out, right? Because it's an S.O.B. It's a son of a bench. It's a crazy hill, especially at 5, maybe 6. I don't even know how old I was, but I know I was right in that age. We can say 6. It doesn't even matter. 6 isn't good either. But anyway, I remember riding up to it, and I'll never forget, like, they're in front of me, and Dad stops on the hill right before, so you got to go down this little hill and then up. And this thing, just on top of this hill, looking at that hill, and you can't even see the top of it because the trees and the whatever are in the way. And I remember looking at that like, we are not going up that. Surely we're not going up that. There's no way we can make it up that. There's just that people don't go up that, do they? Crazy people go up that. But no, Dad's like, all right, we're gonna go up this hill. I'm gonna show you how easy it is real quick. It's real easy. It's not. It looks bad, but you just give me some gas. I'll be right back. And he's looks at his buddy. You stay right here. I'll be right back. And so Dad just, and I mean, just tears it up this hill like a crazy wild man. and gets all the way to the top. You hear him turn around. He comes all the way back down. And then he's like, he looks at his buddy. He's like, "You good to go?" And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Go ahead and I'll meet you at the top of the hill." So he takes off. He does the same thing. He makes it all the way up to the top. These guys are on Husqvarnas, by the way. Screamers. I think one of them's on a Husqvarna 250. The other's on a Husqvarna 400. Crazy bikes Dad used to have. Anyway, so Dad says, "All right, I'll meet you at the top of the hill." And he takes off. And he says, "Just keep your line. Get your line good. Make sure you got a good line. Give it some gas. Give it hell and get your ass up that hill." And I'm like, okay. I'm thinking, and all I can think of is you better try, because I know what, I don't want to come against the resistance of Dad going, "You better get your," anyway. So, and I know he's already been drinking. He's already high. He's already pissy. I don't know why. He was just naturally just angst, you know. And I think it was because he expected more out of me. And I'm like, "Are you kidding me, man? This is my first outing. Come on." Anyway, and we've been through hell all day. So anyway, so we go down this hill. I go down the hill. Dad's already up. His buddy's waiting for him up there, and it's just me. And I am thinking, I don't think I'm going to make it. And sadly, I was correct, because if you don't think you can, you're right. If you think you can, you're right. So you either think you can or you think you can't. This is the lesson that I learned from this traumatic experience. So I go down the hill, and I'm good going down, you know, and although it's still, there's big rocks, it's crazy. I give it gas. I'm getting up the hill, man. I go up this one little thing that goes like this, and boom, it goes up. And there's, you know, trail, and I'm looking where I'm going. I'm trying to get up there, and all of a sudden I hit this. I start doing what Dad told me not to do, because I'm looking at these big rocks. Like, there's big rocks like this, you know, and I'm trying to get between them. And I look at the rock, and sure enough, bam, I hit the rock with my peg, and boom, it takes me, and my bike falls down. So here's the hill like this. I'm going up like this. Boom, it hits the thing, pulls my bike this way, and my bike falls down like this. Gas is coming out the top of the tank, and of course the bike lands on my leg too, because it was quick. Boom, I landed like this, and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm thinking I'm hurt, and I'm not really, but I've hit the ground, you know, decently. And I remember I kicked the back off of me like this, and I hear my dad go, "You better get that bike up here, get your," and I'm like, now I'm terrorized, because I'm thinking, oh man, he's gonna beat me. You know, I'm just thinking, because that's his MO. That's what he was. He was a yeller, which he didn't even have to hit you. He could yell you to tears, right? Because he was terrifying. He would terrorize me. And anyway, so I'm sitting there trying to get it up. I can't pick the bike up. I could barely pick it up when it was on level ground, but everything I got. And I tell him, "I can't lift up the bike. It's going downhill." "You better lift up that bike. Get that son of a bitch up here." And he starts yelling at me, you know, and I'm trying, and he said, "Get it turned around. Get that guy." And he's way up on the hill yelling this stuff, and it's like he's just right here in my ear. Anyway, so I finally get the bike turned around, but I still can't get it lifted up. And then I'm able to get the bike lifted up. But by this time, I'm just done. All the gas is out of me. Half the gas is down there. "You got it up?" I guess you can see me. "Now get it started." And I'm like, "Bruh, bruh, bruh." Oh, it's flooded. It won't start. And I'm like, "It's flooded." And he said, I just hear him go, frickin'. I hear him and his buddy fire up their bikes, and he says, "Get it up here. We'll see you later." And they just take off. And they leave me on the hill. So I'm sitting there, and of course I'm crying at this point in time. I'm already terrorized. And I'm just like, man, how am I even going to get this? And I didn't even think about, like, you need to go back down the hill and do that kind of start, you know, the push start, which at that point in time, I didn't have much experience in that, but that's what I would do today. But anyway, so I'm sitting there, I'm crying. I hear them going off into the distance, like so far off in the distance that I can't even hear their motorcycles anymore. And it was a fade out. Like, they have to be a long ways from me, at least a mile or two. They're down the road, right? And so I'm crying. I'm a little kid. My dad's just left me here. I've disappointed him. I can't do this. I'm stuck on the hill. There's nobody coming. I can't believe they just left me out here. I don't even know how to get back from where I was. If I do get it started, and if I do get it started, there's no way I'm making it up this hill, right? So I'm in a conundrum, and I'm sitting there crying, feeling sorry for myself, as any 5-year-old kid would do, or 6, you choose, whatever. And so I'm sitting there, I got the bike up, and I can't let it go back down because I try to put the kickstand down, it won't go down. So I'm just sitting there on the side of the hill, holding it up, sitting on top of it now, trying, doing this because I'm trying to keep it from falling over that way and whatever. And finally I hear the engines coming. I hear them way off in the distance, and I can tell by the way that Dad's driving that he is live-id because he's riding like a madman. I hear, and I'm just like, he's gonna beat me. He's gonna beat me. And here he comes down the freaking thing. His buddy stays up top. He's like, stay right here. I'll be right back. He comes flying down this hill, which to see this hill, like first perspective, it's intimidating as it can be. Like I said, I've seen adults not be able to make it up, and I had to ride their bike up multiple times, not once or twice. Many times I've had to take people and ride it up that hill. But anyway, so he comes down the hill, throws his bike down like he doesn't even care about it, comes up, give me that bike, picks it up, which he can just pick the whole bike up like this, and gets on it, gets it going down the hill, and he's just doing it with the back tire starting. He puts it in like third gear, get down here right now. And I come down the hill, and he's like, gets me back up to the top, makes me run up to the top of the other hill where we started. You better get you, and I mean, just chews me up one side down the other, and gives me the little theory of the little train that could, which I already knew the story. You better be the little train that could. You either think you can or you can't, and you're the end, and you better get up that hill. And that's like, and I'm like, I'm the little train that could. And I go down this thing, and I give it gas, and I'm just, the whole time, I think I can. And sure enough, man, I'm going up this hill like I think I can. I'm not even on the trail. I go through the woods, like over some stuff, over a big old stump, just all kinds of crazy stuff. And I make it up the freaking hill, all the way up to the top. And I'm like, wow, I made it. I'm alive, right? Dad didn't kill me. And here comes Dad back up the hill with his bike, and his buddy's there, and he's like, dude, you made it, man. That's amazing, man. He goes, you did it, dude. And of course, from that point forward, I was an accomplished motorcycle rider. I was like, I think I can. I know I can. I've seen me do it, right? But it was traumatic for me. And the funny thing is I'll tell you this, just fast forward 30 some odd years, right? Dad comes to visit me, and I've got this little, I think it's a Suzuki DS 200. It's got a bald back tire on it and whatever. And Dad, we're out there in the barn, and he's like, he was getting ready to have his knees replaced. He's getting ready to have knee surgery on one. He already had the other one done, and he's going to have the other one replaced. And he's like, we ought to go ride Camp Gruber one more time just in case they kill me. And, this, that, and the other. And he's saying BS. He's probably, 75 at the time, maybe 78. I don't even know. Yeah, he's probably 75-ish. Anyway, and I've got these headset wireless things by that time and whatever, so I can talk to him. But Dad's deaf, so he can't hear me, but I can hear him, right? And so I take my other buddy with me too, and I'm like, dude, go with us. And so we all go down, and we just have a good time riding this. And so then we're at S.O.B. He wanted to go to S.O.B. one time, and I'm like, Dad, I don't know if that bike will make it. Freaking, he'll make it. And I'm like, well, all right, because he's an ace rider even at 75. And so anyway, we get there, and I said, well, I'll go up and wait for you up top. And I said, I'll hear you if you wreck. I'm in communication with you, so just So I go up the hill. I'm on my XR650, back wheel all the way. I get to the top. My buddy's he's waiting for Dad to go, and then he's going to be next. And anyway, so Dad, he gets to about the same spot where I wrecked as a little kid, and just wipes out. And I'm watching him, from the top, and he wipes out, and all I hear him say is frickin', get this bike off of me. And all I was thinking is, well, you little train that could, you better get your ass up yourself. Anyway, I didn't. Of course, I was thinking, oh, he's broken, you know. And of course, I go down there. But my buddy comes up and he's like, you're all right? Well, anyway, so I ride his motorcycle up for him. And anyway, it was a good time. I'll have to see if I can find some of those pictures because it was great. But I'll do a little, at the very end of this, there's a little video of me riding up that hill on my 650, and I'm just putting up. It just, but I took some kids and one of my buddies. Anyway, we all went, and it was a good time. But is that not crazy? It is, I know. Anyway, I tell you these things so you know how not to raise your kids. And I'll end with this, actually, because Dad said on his deathbed, he goes, you know, I just raised you to be tough because it's a tough world we live in, you know. And I'm like, I know, Dad. And I appreciate it because it really is. If I wouldn't have had that, it wouldn't have made me who I am today. Like, put me on any hill. I don't care what it is. You give me an XR 650 even, and it's funny because all my buddies are like, you ain't gonna be able to ride that big 650 where we're going. I'm like, dude, bet. And every time I've gone, I've had to ride their bikes up stuff that I can go up. I can go up it sitting down. Anyway, I'm bragging. I'm a hell of a motorcycle rider. Trauma got me there. Anyway, love you.
S.O.B. I lost him. Oh, there he is.